The first time it hit me that I might be the reason my best friend kept saying no to good guys. I was standing in her mom's backyard with barbecue sauce on my thumb and a sparkler stuck behind my ear. Not my best moment. Diane Hart, who had known me since I was a skinny 16-year-old raiding her kitchen for chips, leaned in close like she was about to complain about the potato salad. Instead, she smiled and said, "So you're the reason she keeps turning them down." I stared at her, then I looked across the yard at Megan. Megan Hart was laughing by the cooler, one hand on her stomach. Her dark hair was in a messy ponytail that made every other woman at the 4th of July barbecue seem like she had tried too hard. She was 33, a trauma nurse who could handle a bleeding stranger at work but would worry if she had enough burger buns. I was Caleb Brooks, 34, running a small home renovation business, and apparently too slow to see that my whole life had been right there, 10 feet away in denim shorts and red canvas sneakers. I wiped the sauce off my thumb with a napkin. "Sorry, what?" Diane raised her eyebrows. "Don't make me say it again." "I'm too old for wasted drama." She keeps saying no to what? To dinner dates, to setups, to that nice physical therapist from church with the strong shoulders. Diane, what? He has shoulders. I have eyes. I tried to laugh, but it came out shaky. Right then Megan glanced over, saw me talking to her mom, and her smile changed. It didn't fade. It just shifted, like she knew the tricky path her mother was leading me down and was already planning how to grab the steering wheel. Megan pointed 2 fingers at her eyes, then at her mom. Diane waved back sweetly. "She's going to kill you," I said. "She won't. I made the peach cobbler." That was Diane Hart, retired school principal, unbeatable at Scrabble and sharp with emotions. She could spot a lie from far away and pull the truth out of you while handing you lemonade. I had been part of the Hart family for half my life. Megan and I met in junior year when she caught me sneaking out of detention through the music room window. She made me carry supplies for the homecoming committee as blackmail. Somehow that grew into 18 years of friendship. Late-night rides, movie marathons, hospital coffee, moving days, bad dates, bad advice, and one quiet rule: don't mess up the best thing by wanting more. At least that was my rule. I was starting to think Megan's might be different. A firework popped down the street, making kids squeal with joy. Smoke floated over the fence. Some dad yelled about the grill, even though he had burned a towel earlier. It was regular summer fun, but my chest felt tight. Megan turns down lots of people, I told Diane, trying to sound normal. She has high standards. She does, Diane said, her eyes softening in a way that worried me. That's exactly what I mean. Before I could reply, Megan walked up and pressed a cold can of lemonade against my wrist. The quick touch still sent a spark through me. "Mom," she said nicely, "why does Caleb look like you just told him where the bodies are hidden?" "Because he's always been a sensitive one. I put in cabinets for a living." "And still," Diane said. Patting my arm, very soft-hearted, Megan gave me a look. "What did she say?" "Nothing," Diane jumped in. "I asked if he wanted cobbler." "No, you didn't," Megan's eyes narrowed. They were hazel and turned almost golden in the sunlight, which made it hard during questions like this. I sipped the lemonade because my mouth felt dry. Megan leaned closer. "Caleb," my name in her voice. I had heard it 1,000 times, annoyed, laughing, tired after night shifts. Gentle when my dad passed, and she sat on my kitchen floor with me because the quiet couch was too much. But today, with her shoulder nearly touching mine and the smell of coconut sunscreen in the air, it felt new. Maybe because Diane had lit a match on feelings I had hidden for years. Maybe because Megan was looking at me like she dared me to admit I felt it too. "Your mom said you've been turning down men with good shoulders," I started carefully. Megan closed her eyes. "Mom," Diane raised her hands, "I never said good. I said nice. You're banned from talking. This is my house." "Then I'll skip the potato salad," Diane gasped like Megan had threatened to burn the place. "You wouldn't," Megan grabbed my wrist. "We're going to check the ice." "We have ice," I said. "We're checking it emotionally." She pulled me away from the patio, past the tables and kids with glow sticks, toward the side yard where the cooler waited under the big maple tree. Her hand stayed on my wrist the whole time, not squeezing hard, just sure. When we got there, the party noise grew softer. The air smelled of charcoal, fresh grass, and honeysuckle on the fence. Megan let go and started lifting the cooler lid, pretending to check the cans. We stayed quiet for a moment. I watched her count sodas. She watched drops slide down a bottle like it was the most interesting thing. Finally, I said, "So don't." "I didn't ask anything. You said so, with your face." "I have a so face, you have a few faces. Most of them are too easy to read." I leaned against the house wall. "That's funny because it turns out I've missed some big parts of the story." Her fingers stopped on a root beer. She laughed once, but it wasn't her real laugh. My mother loves drama. She also likes being right. Megan looked up at me. There was that shift again, the thing I had been afraid to name because naming it meant dealing with what came next. Caleb, she said softly. It's the 4th of July. There are kids with fireworks 10 yards away. Can we not do this next to the recycling bin? I should have joked. I was good at jokes. They had helped me through my parents' split, my broken engagement, tough jobs, and every time Megan got too close to the truth. But this time no joke came. Because 3 years ago my fiancé gave back the ring and said I was safe, steady, kind, but not the one she wanted to run to. After that, I stopped believing in almost love. And Megan. She wasn't almost anything. She was who I called when my truck died. The one who knew I hated olives but still stole them from my pizza. The one who fell asleep on my shoulder during a storm and made every other woman I dated feel wrong for a year. I looked at her and asked, how many times have you said no because of me? The backyard got noisy again behind us, laughter, cheers, the screen door banging. Megan's face changed, not guilty. More like caught. Before she could reply, a man's voice called from the patio, bright and sure. Megan, hey, your mom said I'd find you out here. We both turned. A tall guy in a navy polo came around the corner with grocery store flowers and the hopeful smile of someone who had no clue he had stepped into the middle of everything. Megan whispered, oh no. For the first time in 18 years, my best friend reached back and took my hand like she didn't want me to let go. The man with the flowers looked from Megan to me, then at our joined hands. Megan's grip tightened, not enough to hurt, just enough to answer the question she hadn't been ready to ask out loud. I looked at her fingers in mine, then at her face. She was blushing. Megan Hart, who had once told a drunk guy with a hurt shoulder that if he bit her again she'd move something else, was blushing because she held my hand by a recycling bin. The man cleared his throat. Bad time, Megan opened her mouth. Nothing came out, so I did something I hadn't planned or thought through. I squeezed her hand back. Kind of, I said. Megan's eyes met mine fast. The man's smile slipped. Oh, sorry, I'm Oliver. Diane invited me. Of course his name was Oliver. He had clean shoes, flowers, and probably flossed perfectly. Caleb, I said. Oliver nodded slowly. Right, the best friend. The words felt wrong, not because he said them meanly, he didn't. But for the first time I hated how small they sounded, best friend. As if that explained why Megan knew the sound my truck made before the alternator failed. As if it covered how she slept in a hospital chair after my appendix surgery because I was bad at being alone. As if it could hold 18 years of almost, Megan finally spoke. Oliver, I'm sorry, my mom shouldn't have ambushed you, he offered, still polite. She winced. Yes, he glanced at our hands again. This time his face showed understanding, not awkwardness. Got it, he said. Diane said you were single. I am, Megan said automatically. Then she looked at me. My heart did something stupid. She corrected herself, quieter. I was. Oliver lifted both eyebrows. So did I? Megan's blush deepened. I mean, possibly pending discussion. Despite everything, I laughed. Oliver laughed too, which made it impossible to dislike him. Well, I can respect a pending discussion. He held the bouquet out to Megan. These were for you or your mom or the nearest vase. No pressure. Megan took them, clearly mortified. Thank you, I really am sorry, don't be. Honestly, I suspected there was a reason Diane was overselling me. He looked at me. Good luck, man. Thanks, I said, because what else did a guy say to the human embodiment of mature disappointment? Oliver headed back toward the patio. The second he disappeared, Megan dropped her forehead against my shoulder. Oh my God, I stood very still. Her hair brushed my jaw, her hand was still in mine. The side of her body pressed against the front of my shirt, and every nerve I owned suddenly became invested in the exact point where her forehead touched me. You said pending discussion, I murmured. She groaned into my shoulder. I panicked. You said you were possibly not single, still panicking. Because of me, she lifted her head. The yard lights had blinked on, little warm bulbs strung along the fence. They caught in her eyes and made her look nervous and brave, and so beautiful I forgot the next teasing thing I meant to say. Because of you, she said, there are moments in a man's life when the entire future narrows to one choice. Step back and save the comfortable lie, step forward and risk the truth. I had been stepping back from Megan for years. I told myself it was noble. I told myself she deserved someone uncomplicated, someone who didn't come with a failed engagement and a work schedule that left sawdust in the creases of his hands. I told myself friendship was safer, but Megan's hand was warm in mine, and she had reached for me first. I turned slightly so we were facing each other. Meg, her breath caught. That did things to me, dangerous, hopeful things. How long? I asked. She made a small helpless gesture with the flowers. Do you want the flattering answer or the humiliating one? Both. The flattering answer is that I realized sometime after your engagement ended that nobody I went out with made me laugh the way you do, and the humiliating answer, she looked toward the party. Then back at me. Senior year, maybe. I stopped breathing. She rushed on. Not constantly, not in a tragic diary way, just you were always there. And then you'd date someone and I'd get over it. Then you'd fix my sink or bring me soup after a double shift, or remember that I hate fireworks up close but like watching them from far away. And I'd be right back in trouble. The words hit me one by one, soft and devastating. You never said anything. Neither did you. Fair, I was engaged, I said quietly. I know, her gaze softened. And before that, you were my best friend. I didn't want to be the girl who mistook kindness for a sign. You didn't, her lips parted. I reached up slow enough for her to stop me and brushed my thumb over a tiny smear of barbecue sauce at the corner of her mouth. Her eyes closed for half a second. My voice came out rough. You never did. Somewhere behind us, people started counting down for a neighborhood firework. 10, 9, 8. Megan opened her eyes. Caleb, if we do this and it goes badly, I know, do you? Because I can lose a date. I can lose a man with shoulders. I cannot lose you. The countdown continued. 7, 6, 5. I slid my hand from hers to her waist, not pulling, just asking. She stepped closer before I could. I don't want to lose you either, I said. But I'm starting to think I've been losing something else every time I pretend I don't want you. Her fingers curled into the front of my shirt. 4, 3, say that again, she whispered. I want you. The first firework burst overhead, bright red light spilling across the side of the house. Megan rose onto her toes and kissed me. It wasn't tentative. That was the first shock. The second was how quickly I forgot every reason we shouldn't. Her mouth was warm and certain, tasting faintly of lemonade and summer. I cupped her cheek and she made the smallest sound against me, like relief, not surprise, relief. As if she'd been waiting to set something heavy down, I kissed her back like an answer 18 years late. When we broke apart, the sky was cracking open above the trees, gold and blue and white. Megan stared at me. Well, I smiled, breathless. Pending discussion seems promising. She laughed then, her real laugh, and pressed her face briefly against my chest. I wrapped my arms around her. For one perfect minute, we stood there in the side yard with fireworks overhead and her mother's terrible matchmaking behind us, holding each other like the whole world had finally shifted into place. Then Diane's voice floated from the patio. I'm not looking, but if someone needs cobbler as a post-kiss snack, it's ready. Megan went rigid. I closed my eyes. She's looking. She is absolutely looking. Should we run? Megan tilted her head up at me, smiled slow and wicked. No, no. She took my hand again, this time deliberately, fingers sliding between mine in full view of anyone who cared to watch. No more hiding, she said. And before I could admit how badly I wanted exactly that, she led me back toward the lights. Walking back into the party holding Megan's hand felt less like an announcement and more like stepping onto a stage after forgetting my lines. Every heart cousin within 10 feet noticed. Diane pretended not to by rearranging paper plates with the intense focus of a surgeon. Megan's older brother, Jonah, looked at our joined hands, looked at me, then pointed his hot dog like a weapon. Is this new or have I been oblivious? Both, Megan said. Jonah nodded. Respect. His wife Priya smacked his arm. That's all you have. What? I'm processing. Caleb's been eating our food for 18 years. This is basically a family merger. Megan squeezed my hand under the table. I squeezed back. That tiny exchange steadied me more than it should have. Or maybe exactly as much as it should have, considering I had just kissed my best friend beside a cooler and walked into a backyard full of witnesses wearing barbecue sauce cologne. Diane finally turned around with the serving spoon in hand. Cobbler, Megan gave her a flat look. Subtle, I'm offering dessert, not officiating, yet Jonah muttered. I cleared my throat. Cobbler sounds great. Megan stared at me. Traitor, your mother made peach cobbler. I'm romantically compromised, not dead. That earned me her laugh, bright and unguarded. And just like that, the heat in my chest eased from panic into something dangerously close to joy. We took our cobbler to the back steps where the party noise blurred into music and firework pops. Megan sat one step below me, knees angled toward mine, our shoulders touching. For years we had sat exactly like this, at bonfires on moving day curbs. Outside emergency rooms while she decompressed after shifts, and I passed her vending machine pretzels. But now her bare knee brushed my jeans and I noticed. Now when she stole a bite from my plate, her fork paused near my mouth with a challenge in her eyes. What? I asked. You always get the corner piece. It's structurally superior. It has extra crust. Exactly. She scooped up a bite and held it out. Open, I glanced around. Are we feeding each other in public now? Her smile went soft at the edges. Are you embarrassed? No, good. I opened my mouth. She fed me the bite, watching me with an expression so openly pleased it turned something inside me molten. Not smug, not nervous, happy. You've got that face again, she said. What face? The one where you're overthinking yourself into a shallow grave. I swallowed. I kissed you 20 minutes ago, I noticed, and now your entire family knows. They've suspected since the Bush administration, I choked. What? Megan shrugged, but her cheeks pinked. Apparently I am not mysterious. You're very mysterious, Caleb. You're a woman of depth and secrets. I once cried because a raccoon stole my breakfast taco. That raccoon had criminal intent. She laughed, then leaned her shoulder more firmly into my leg. The simple trust of it nearly undid me. I set my plate aside. I don't want to mess this up. Her teasing faded. She turned on the step so she could look up at me. I know, no, I mean it. I'm not saying that as a line. You're my person, Meg. Before today, before the kiss. If I have a good day, I want to tell you. If something goes wrong, I want you there, even if you're just calling me an idiot while handing me ice. That is one of my gifts, and I'm scared wanting more will make me greedy. Her eyes softened in the dim yard. Light. Then she stood, taking my hand and tugging me up. Come with me? Are we checking the ice emotionally again? No, this is a higher-level operation. She led me past the lilac bushes to the small, detached garage at the back of the yard. The side door stuck same as always. I put my shoulder to it automatically. Megan smiled. See? Useful. Inside it smelled like cardboard boxes, grass seed, and old summer. She clicked on a little lamp near a workbench. The garage was mostly storage, but the back window faced the open sky beyond the neighbor's roof. Megan hopped onto the old wooden workbench, her sneakers dangling. We used to hide in here during Dad's company picnics. I remember. You said adults got boring after the third story about mortgage rates. They still do. I stood in front of her close enough that her knees nearly bracketed my hips. Close enough that the easy thing would be to kiss her again and avoid the serious conversation. For once, I didn't take the easy thing. Megan, she tilted her head. Yeah. I don't want to drift into this because your mom cornered us and Oliver brought flowers. Poor Oliver, he was very decent. He'll find someone who appreciates shoulders. I smiled despite myself. I want to take you out on purpose, a real date. Her expression changed, small, startled pleasure. Define real date, she said. I pick you up. I panic about my shirt. You pretend not to notice. Dinner somewhere that doesn't have laminated menus unless you want laminated menus because I support your diner fries habit. Green flag. I walk you to your door. I ask if I can kiss you. You say yes because you have excellent judgment. Confident, I'm trying it on. She reached for the front of my shirt and pulled me closer gently. It looks good on you. The garage seemed to shrink around us. Outside fireworks bloomed with muffled thumps, but in there the loudest thing was my heart. Megan's thumb traced one slow line along my collar. I want that, she said, a date on purpose. The words hit deeper than the kiss somehow because this wasn't heat or panic or Diane's meddling. This was Megan choosing me in the quiet. I rested my hands on either side of her on the bench. Tomorrow, I work tomorrow night. Breakfast date, her eyes lit. You hate mornings. I like you more than I hate mornings. Oh. Her teasing slipped, leaving something tender behind. That was unfairly good. I've been saving up for 18 years, apparently. She drew in a breath, then said, I was scared you'd only kiss me because I grabbed your hand. I went still. No, I said immediately. Her gaze dropped. I know you're kind, sometimes too kind. And after your engagement, I didn't kiss you out of kindness. Then why? I stepped closer until her knees touched my sides. Because when you took my hand, I wanted everyone to see it. Because when you said possibly, I hoped so hard I felt stupid. Because I have compared every woman I've dated to you and then acted confused when they weren't you. Megan's eyes shone. I cupped her face. Because I'm in love with you, I think I have been for a long time, and I was too much of a coward to call it that. For a moment she didn't move, then she smiled, but it trembled. You cannot drop that in my mother's garage while I'm sitting on a lawn-mower manual. I can take it back and redo it somewhere classier. Don't you dare. Her hand slid to my jaw. I love you too, she whispered. The world did not explode, no dramatic music swelled. But Megan kissed me and I felt the future open like a door. This kiss was slower than the first, sweeter. Her fingers brushed the back of my neck and I stepped into her space like I had been invited home. When we finally parted, she rested her forehead against mine. Breakfast, she said. Breakfast and Caleb, yeah, if you wear the blue shirt, I'll probably kiss you before the pancakes. I grinned, noted. A knock sounded on the garage door. Diane called. I am not interrupting. I am merely informing you that Jonah is about to start karaoke and love should not have to suffer that. Megan closed her eyes. I'm adopted. I laughed and kissed her once more, quick and helpless. Then I took her hand because no hiding meant no hiding, and together we went back out. I wore the blue shirt. I also changed it twice, shaved twice because I missed a spot the first time, and stood in my kitchen at 6:42 a.m. holding two different bouquets like a man choosing evidence for trial. Sunflowers felt too cheerful. Roses felt like I was about to propose or apologize. I finally brought coffee, not flowers, not a grand gesture, two iced coffees from the drive-thru near the hospital. One with oat milk and cinnamon because Megan claimed regular milk was a betrayal after night shift. And one black for me because I was trying to look like a man who hadn't slept 3 hours. When she opened her apartment door, still in scrubs, hair coming loose from a clip, tired shadows beneath her eyes, I forgot every smooth thing I'd planned. She looked at the coffee carrier, then at my shirt, her mouth curved. You wore it. I'm easily influenced by pancake-related threats. She took her coffee, but instead of stepping back, she reached out and hooked one finger in the front of my shirt. Come here, I went willingly. Her kiss was soft and sleepy and tasted like mint gum. It lasted only a few seconds, but when she pulled away, she looked pleased with herself. Before the pancakes, she said. I touched her waist. Technically, before you even invited me in. I'm efficient. You're exhausted. I'm both. Her apartment was exactly how I knew it. Shoes by the door, a blanket folded over the couch. 3 half-dead plants she refused to let me replace because she said they were building character. But stepping inside as the man taking her on a date made everything feel newly intimate. I had fixed her garbage disposal in that kitchen. I had eaten cereal from the box on that couch. Now she was standing in front of me close enough that I could see the faint line a pillow had left on her cheek. And I wanted to be allowed to know her in all the ways I already knew her. And all the ways I didn't. Do you need to sleep instead? I asked. She sipped her coffee. Absolutely. I can come back. No, Megan. She set the cup down and took both my hands. I want breakfast with you. I want to be tired and slightly cranky and still have you look at me like that. Like what? Like I'm not a bad idea at 7:00 in the morning. I pulled her closer. You're the best idea I've had in years. Her eyes softened, and for a moment the air between us turned quiet. Then her stomach growled loudly. I looked down. She closed her eyes. Do not. I would never. You're smiling. My face is disloyal. 5 minutes later, we were walking to Rosie's Diner, the place with cracked red booths, laminated menus, and pancakes the size of hubcaps. Megan insisted on changing out of scrubs, but all she did was trade them for a soft green dress and sneakers, which somehow hit me harder than anything fancy could have. At the crosswalk, she slipped her hand into mine. No hesitation. I looked at our joined hands. She bumped my shoulder. Still processing? Yes. Need a minute. I may need several business days. She laughed, then leaned her head briefly against my arm while we waited for the light. It was ridiculous how date-like the smallest things became. Holding the door, sitting across from her instead of beside her. Watching her study the menu like she hadn't ordered the same blueberry pancakes for a decade. When the waitress came, Megan said, blueberry pancakes, extra crispy bacon, and if he orders oatmeal, please stage an intervention. I wasn't going to order oatmeal. You considered it. I saw your eyes drift to the healthy corner. I was reading. You don't read the healthy corner unless you're in emotional distress. The waitress grinned. So pancakes for him too? Pancakes, I said, under pressure. When we were alone, Megan rested her chin on her hand. You're nervous. No, I'm not. Caleb, I exhaled. I am trying very hard not to treat this like it's breakable. Her teasing faded. I keep thinking, I admitted, if I say the wrong thing or move too fast or don't move fast enough, you'll wake up and decide we were better before. She reached across the table and covered my hand with hers. Her thumb moved over my knuckles, slow and grounding. I loved before, she said. I don't want to go back to it. My throat tightened. She looked down at our hands. But I'm scared too. You are? Of course I am. Last night was beautiful, and also my mother basically set off an emotional firework in our faces. Accurate. And I meant what I said. I can't lose you, she swallowed. So I need us to be honest even when it's awkward, especially then. I turned my hand palm up and laced our fingers. Okay, and I need you not to decide what I can handle for me. You do that sometimes. I winced. I do. You disappear into noble silence. You think if you want something too much, the decent thing is to want it quietly. That landed with uncomfortable precision. I thought I was protecting what mattered. I know, her voice gentled. But I don't want to be protected from being loved by you. The waitress arrived with pancakes then, which was fortunate because I might have said something embarrassingly permanent over syrup. Megan poured blueberry sauce on her stack and pointed her fork at me. Also, if we're dating, I reserve the right to tell you when you're being an emotionally constipated pine tree. I stared. Pine tree, tall, stubborn, smells faintly like sawdust. That's disturbingly specific. I've had years, we ate. We argued over whether crispy bacon could be too crispy. She stole a strawberry from my plate even though neither of us had ordered strawberries. She found one in the garnish and declared it fate. By the time we left, the fear in my chest had loosened into something warmer. Outside morning sun washed the sidewalk gold. Megan paused under the diner awning looking tired now in a way she couldn't hide. I brushed a strand of hair from her cheek. Let me walk you home, trying to get a doorstep kiss? Yes. Her smile went slow. Good. At her building, she didn't go inside right away. She stood on the bottom step, which made us nearly eye level. First date complete, she said. Strong reviews. I'd give it 4.5 stars. What lost me the half, you looked at oatmeal. I will spend my life making amends. Her expression changed at that word. Life, not frightened, affected. I cupped her face. Too much, she shook her head. No, just not used to getting what I wanted. The vulnerability in that undid me more than any kiss. You have me, I said. Her fingers curled around my wrist. Say it again. You have me, Megan. She kissed me like she believed it this time. Slow, certain. Right there on her apartment steps with a delivery truck rattling past and sunlight in her hair. When she pulled back, her eyes were bright. I need to sleep, she whispered. I know. But come over tonight, you work tonight. Before my shift, we can have dinner, something easy. Second date, a second on purpose date. I smiled. I'll bring food and the blue shirt. You're abusing your power. I've waited 18 years. I'm using everything. I kissed her forehead, then watched her go inside, feeling like the morning had rewired me. Halfway home, my phone buzzed. A text from Megan. Megan still smiling. It's inconvenient trying to nap me, want me to be less charming. Megan impossible, also rude, me sleep, I'll see you tonight. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Megan Caleb me yeah. Megan don't get scared and run. I stopped walking. The street was quiet, summer heat rising from the pavement, her words small on the screen and huge in my chest. I typed back before fear could edit me. Me, I'm not running, I'm choosing you. This time her reply came fast. Megan, then tonight we talk about what choosing means, really. I stared at the message, heart pounding for an entirely different reason now because I wanted the answer. And because for the first time, I understood it might require more courage than kissing her ever had. That night I brought Thai food, 2 lemonades, and absolutely no plan except telling the truth until one of us got scared. Megan opened the door in black leggings and an old college sweatshirt I recognized as mine. I pointed at it. Is that stolen property? She glanced down. Evidence of a long-term emotional crime. How long have you had it? Define have. Megan, since your 26th birthday. I stared. That was 8 years ago. It's very comfortable. I set the takeout on her counter. You've been wearing my sweatshirt for 8 years and I was supposed to remain normal. You didn't know. My subconscious knew. It's probably been exhausted. She laughed, but there was nervousness under it. I felt it too. The apartment seemed softer than it had that morning, lit by one lamp, rain tapping at the windows that the forecast had sworn clear skies. We ate on the couch, cartons balanced on our knees, knees touching. It felt domestic in a way that should have terrified me. Instead, I wanted more of it. After dinner, Megan curled her feet beneath her and faced me. Okay, I echoed. What does choosing me mean to you? I wiped my hands on a napkin, buying a second. She noticed but didn't rescue me from the question. That was new. Or maybe she had always done it and I was finally brave enough to stay. It means I don't treat this like a trial period I can quietly back out of if I panic, I said. It means I date you in the open. I make room for you. I tell you when I'm scared instead of pretending I'm being noble. Her eyes stayed on mine, and if it gets hard then we talk before we run. She nodded slowly. What does it mean to you? I asked. Her fingers tightened around her tea carton. It means I stop pretending I'm low maintenance just because I'm afraid wanting things makes me difficult. I leaned forward. What things? She looked at me then, really looked, and there was no teasing left. I want Sunday mornings. I want your toothbrush next to mine someday. I want to meet you after bad shifts and not wonder if I'm allowed to need you. I want holidays where your hand finds mine under the table because we both remember how this started. My chest ached. She swallowed, and I want to know if that scares you. Yes, I said, her face flickered. I reached for her immediately, but not because I don't want it, because I do, her breath caught. I slid my hand over hers. I want all of that. I want to be the person you come home to. I want to argue about takeout and fix the cabinet door you keep slamming because you think violence solves hinges. It does solve some hinges. I want you in my life in ways that require calendar coordination and spare keys. I want a future, Megan, with you, her eyes filled. For one terrible second, I thought I'd said too much. Then she set the carton aside, climbed into my lap like she'd made a decision with her whole body, and kissed me. I caught her by the waist, laughing against her mouth because she nearly knocked the wind out of me. She drew back just enough to whisper, still scared, terrified, me too, good. That's your response? If we're both scared, neither of us has to pretend. Her smile trembled, I like that. I kissed her again, slower this time. Rain moved over the windows, the food went cold, and the old sweatshirt bunched under my hands as she leaned into me like she trusted me with the weight of her wanting. Before she left for her shift, she gave me a key, not dramatically, not with music swelling. She took it off a little ring shaped like a peach and dropped it into my palm. For emergencies, she said. I closed my fingers around it. What qualifies? Bad days, good days, missing me too much to be reasonable. That last one may become frequent. Then use the key, Brooks, so I did. Not that night, not the next, but a week later when she texted after a brutal shift, awake. I was already grabbing my shoes. We learned each other differently after that. I learned that dating Megan meant she stole all the blankets, but denied it with legal confidence. She learned that I hummed when I cooked and stopped when accused. We learned that being best friends did not automatically make romance effortless. It just made honesty more important. We had our first fight 3 weeks in over me canceling dinner, because a job ran late and not admitting I was disappointed too. Megan stood in my kitchen, arms folded, and said, I am not one more thing on your schedule, Caleb. I almost got defensive, then I remembered, talk before you run. You're right, I said. I was scared you'd think I couldn't make space for you. Her anger softened. Can you? I crossed the kitchen and took her hand. Yes, I'm learning how. Don't let me hide behind work. She looked at me for a long moment, then sighed. Fine. But I'm still taking the last slice of pizza. That feels punitive. It is. We made up on my back porch under a string of lights I'd installed badly. And she refused to let me fix because she said the crooked ones had character. She kissed me with cold fingers tucked under my shirt and told me she loved me like it was something we were allowed to keep saying. By autumn, her plants had moved into my windows because mine got better sun. By Thanksgiving, Diane stopped pretending she had not orchestrated our downfall. At Christmas, Megan gave me a framed photo from that 4th of July. Someone had caught us on the back steps, not kissing, not announcing anything, just sitting close, her shoulder against my knee. Both of us smiling like we were trying not to. On the back she had written, before we were brave. The following 4th of July, Diane hosted again. Same backyard, same grill, same maple tree shading the coolers where everything had changed. Only this time I arrived with Megan's hand already in mine, and a ring box in my pocket that felt heavier than any tool I'd ever carried. I waited until after dinner, after John's terrible karaoke, after Diane's cobbler. When the first fireworks began popping beyond the fence, I led Megan to the side yard. She looked at the coolers, then at me. Caleb, I know, subtle location. Her eyes widened. I took both her hands. A year ago you reached for me here. You were braver than I was. You chose me before I knew how to say I'd been choosing you for years. Her mouth parted, tears already bright in her eyes. I dropped to one knee. Megan Hart, I want every Sunday morning, every bad shift, every crooked strand of lights, every holiday where your hand finds mine under the table. I want your toothbrush next to mine and your stolen sweatshirts in my closet. I want to keep choosing you out loud for the rest of my life. Will you marry me? She covered her mouth. From the patio, Diane sobbed, I'm not looking. Megan laughed through tears, she is absolutely looking. Yes, she said, pulling me up before I could even get the ring all the way out. Yes, Caleb. I slid the ring onto her finger with hands that shook. And then she kissed me under red and gold fireworks in the same side yard where fear had finally lost to wanting. A year after that, we stood in Diane's backyard again, married now. Megan barefoot in the grass, my hand resting over the small curve of her belly while sparks bloomed above the fence. Diane watched from the porch with cobbler in her hands and triumph all over her face. Megan leaned into me and whispered, still think my mom just offered dessert? I kissed her temple. Your mother is a menace, she gave me you. I looked down to her, at the ring on her hand, at the future growing quietly between us, and held her closer as the sky opened in light. What would you have done if your best friend's mom smiled at a family barbecue and basically exposed that you were the reason her daughter kept saying no? Have you ever experienced something similar where everyone else saw the love story before you did? Tell me your story in the comments. If you like this one, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.